I feel like thrifting has changed my perception of wealth and what I feel like it is. I hope that at the end of this video, your perspective can be changed as well.
Subscribe to the channel.
We could be everything, anything that we see we could be. We could be everything that we want.
So let's talk about first what we did, okay? There is a bit of a house update going on at the moment, so I kind of want to update you and show you what we're working on. Greetings and welcome back to another vlog. This is going to be actually a daily vlog. Just spend the day with me, and we have quite a few updates. Really home updates to be specific. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight into what we already did. So in the last vlog, you guys saw that I was thrifting for home decor, and I did tell you that I got some things that I was gonna put in its place and that things were still coming together. So I guess let's go over some of the pieces that I picked up in the last vlog and kind of like what we're doing today, because like I said, it's just a daily vlog. Also, we're going thrifting today. I wanna start with probably the most, well, one of the most, I can't say it's the most, but it's really exciting for me, and it is an update that's in the kitchen. So as you guys know, I have my vintage radio that is wired all throughout my house, and I was talking about how I really wanted to look into getting Bluetooth because I want to be able to play like my own music. The radio stations don't really come through super clear here, and the ones that do are not really the kind of music I listen to. So one of my glorious, beautiful, sent from heaven supporters on TikTok told me in that video in the comments that there was a such thing as an FM radio transmitter. And so, sorry, I'm like trying to show you guys this, but I have this little device right here. Let me just set it right there. So I have that little device. It looks like a little remote controller, and I do actually have a little charger that I have hooked up right here to keep it charged because it is wireless. It works whether it's sitting on the radio or whether it's sitting on the counter. But what it allows me to do is play music from my phone to the radio via this FM Bluetooth transmitter. So now I can have music, and it's all through the house. So everywhere the speaker is, that is where the music is playing. Obviously in the individual rooms, they could turn it down, but I could literally play whatever music I want. I actually had jazz playing this morning, and it was just so glorious and peaceful and amazing. So I am so happy about this little upgrade, and the little device was only like 20 bucks. Well worth it. Now, as you guys can see, if I move it a little bit too far, it doesn't work. So I might look into getting one later that's like a little bit more expensive that has a stronger antenna, because then it'll play a lot clearer. But I just wanted to see if it would work. So that is the first update. I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit. Luckily, this won't give me a copyright, so you guys have heard this song in the vlog many times. First update, if you guys remember, this was in my entryway, right? I decided that I wanted to move it right here because I felt like this area was kind of missing something. And so I moved it over here, but I still needed something in my entryway, and I wanted it to match since they would be so close together. So there's the updated entryway table. I do have this like little mirror down there. I have to figure out where that's gonna go, but yeah, this is the entryway for now. I do still need to decorate it, but one of the things I was wanting to do was get a little stool to go right here and a little stool to go right here, so that when you're in the house and you're taking off your shoes, you have somewhere to sit. Another item that I have is this right here. This was a pain to put together, and I literally hit myself in the head with it while I was putting it together. But this has the shoe storage right here, which we desperately needed for this area. As you can see, my husband still has to get used to putting shoes in there. But this is where I decided to put the little stone tray for now. And then I moved these things right here. Whether or not this is gonna stay is TBD, because I really want to get a nice cowhide rug for the entryway, and I'll probably need like 2, but I'm not gonna do that until we get the house painted, and we do have a couple requests for quotes out right now, so that's that. Another upgrade that we did is in the office. You guys saw that I got the coffee table, and it's right here in place, and I love it. Actually, you can kind of see right here. This, my friend from California, she actually sent me this. She mailed it to me because she said she saw it and she thought of me, so she sent this to me with some really cool matches. So I'm gonna actually put this in here because I think it goes really well. And I do have this arrangement from Christmas that needs to be a little bit more full. I still have the price tag hanging off of this, so this table has not been decorated at all, but we are going to need some tabletop decor. So that's one of the things that I really want to try to get going. So still have to decorate. I'll take you guys on that journey as well, and then just kind of figure out the entryway. I do have that shoe cabinet, which I do love, but then I came across one on Pinterest, and now I'm like, okay, I kind of need something like that. So I don't know how long that one's gonna stay there, but it wasn't that expensive, and it's really pretty. I'll link it down below if you guys are interested, and actually I'll show it to you guys a little bit closer. Here's a better up close of the shoe cabinet. So right now I have this little vintage stool right here that I thrifted, so this can also be used. I just really want something over there, but for now, this is what this area is kind of looking like. What I'm thinking is we have this here temporarily because I want to see if I'm going to leave it like that or if I'm going to get it framed, like matted and framed professionally. Trying to see. And then right here, this is going to be here. I want to put a plant right here. So I think I'm gonna propagate my pothos that's out in the backyard and put it here, but I have a couple really cool ideas for this spot. So this is kind of like what it's looking like right now. And then for this one, this is a better view of this right here. It's so crazy how this matches the one that's in there so well. So it kind of gives the same vibe, but I feel like a colorful stool on either side would also make this area look so much better. And I am still at a loss of like what I kind of want to do here. I want to do something a little bit more dramatic right here because this is the entryway. I just have not found the perfect piece. So this has kind of been how it's been since we moved in pretty much. And then you can kind of see better. This is the table. So my office, the desk is a little messy, don't mind that, but we're gonna take care of this. I want to get some more pillows for this, but that's kind of like last on the priority list because these pillows actually work. These are the leather pillows that I thrifted. I also thrifted this pillow, and then this one is from our old place. And if you're new here, then this is my office. I really love the office. I think it's beautiful, and more or less it's pretty much like almost done. I just need a few things. Like we definitely want to get a bar cart to go right here because we never open those doors because of my cats. They get locked away in the kitchen area at night so they don't tear up my house. This door, I have to put something in front of it typically, which right now I have that iron. I don't know if you can see that iron thing right there because my youngest cat, both of them actually, they know how to open this door. So a bar cart right there would be really cool, I think, and we're still trying to find the perfect one. I am considering color drenching this room and bringing this gray color. Let me see if I could turn on the lights so you guys could see. Here's a good way. Okay, so you see this color, it's like a really dark chocolatey gray. I'm thinking of color drenching and doing the ceiling as well. Initially I didn't do it because the carpet was white and I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't know if it would be too much, but now I'm like, I think I want to color drench. So I have the paint to do it. It's just like moving everything. I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it. And then one of the other things I want to do is I want to take this air conditioning vent and replace it with brass, which is what I'm eventually going to do with all of the air conditioning vents in my house. I'm going to replace them with brass vents. Okay, so this is my living room. You guys know my big focal fireplace situation, and you can kind of see my living room is very large. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but my living room could literally be split in half and still be like a good size living room. So one of the things that we're gonna end up doing, is reconfiguring it and having a sitting area over on this side and a sitting area on that side. I'm gonna do something really cool and dramatic right here. Also, there's a huge area right here where I could put a nice, big, pretty chandelier. So I do need to find that also in my entryway and my stairs, but this room is about to be painted and I think I am pretty set on the color that we're gonna go with, which will be a surprise because that will be in a vlog coming up here. But I wanna also consider in the future, like the colors that are gonna go best with the floor that I wanna do. So I need to also call a custom window treatment company to do custom curtains because my curtains in here were custom. It's very obvious, but I just need like another fabric. So the hard part I feel like is done. I just need them to re-sew with new fabric, custom curtains to go right here, and then I want them to have more privacy and cover up the window. So I do need to look into that and see how much that's gonna cost. I'm hoping it's not astronomical, but the very, very next thing we're doing in here is getting it painted, and I already have picked out, I think, the couches that I'm going to want in here. And then I need to still get a chase, which is gonna go on one side. I need to get a tall wing back chair for this corner that I'm facing, and then I need a seating area situation for the back corner by the bar, and then I need another love seat that's gonna go back here. I know it sounds like a lot of seating, but I'm going to show you my inspo and like where it is coming from. This is my inspo. It's a picture my husband really loves, this right here. Now I want this top portion situation, not that, because I don't want to cover up my wood, but I want this right here. And I want to find a really cool like love seat and a long table like that. Potentially maybe some smaller like little bar tables that are like, they're literally like this big and on a little stand. You can find them at Home Goods super easy. Maybe I'll put like 2 of those there. And then for the couch area that's gonna face that way, I'm thinking something a little bit less traditional, but I think more functional and more cool is a longer table situation like you see in this picture in front of that couch. So let's say we're all in here, and sometimes me and my husband, we like to work on the couch like in the living room and not necessarily in the office. If we have the couch with the longer, taller table situation in front of it, it's like being at a cafe with a couch and a table. We could literally sit there and work while also still being in the living room. So the goal is to have many, many, many different seating areas, very much like this picture. Make the living room come alive. That's the plan. And then I have it bookmarked in here. Against this wall right here, we want to get a really tall, like up to where the wood is, we want a bookshelf that is that tall, that's wood, but we want it in a contrasting lighter wood that can be like a bookshelf, but also house a lot of my china, because you guys know I have a dish and china obsession. And then also like blankets and storage and things like that. So something we love is this right here. I think something like this against the wall will add some contrast and just dimension and interest to the room. So I will be looking for something like that. I like that it's raw wood. I like that it's light. I like that it has cabinetry and doors. So that, I had to fold this page so I could keep it in the forefront of my mind. I will be on the hunt for a piece like that, and I do think it's probably gonna be expensive, but fingers crossed, because I have been able to find some really good pieces by just simply setting my mind to it. Now, it doesn't have to look exactly like that. The main thing I need is the wood color, raw wood, 100%, like I need wood, the wood color, and the height and dimension. Even if it's just all shelving, I would be fine with that. Preferably cabinetry at the bottom, but I'm not that picky because I know finding a piece like that is going to be a challenge, and more so a challenge because I'm not paying $10,000 for it. So I just have to keep my eye out. There's so many plans that I have for the house, but all of my plans are centered around how to make this space that I have feel as wealthy and as luxurious as possible. And what it boils down to is like, what does that mean to me? What does that mean for me, Jillian? So one of the things that I find to be extremely luxurious is high quality materials and comfort, and also peace, which is something that cannot necessarily be bought monetarily. In some instances it can. I mean, obviously, if your bills are paid, you have a sense of peace, right? But beyond that, there's like a different kind of peace that comes with just being in a pleasant environment. And one of the things that makes a pleasant environment for me is having not only everything that I need, but the most whimsical version of everything that I need and what I want, right? So with that being said, obviously I thrift a lot, and thrifting has afforded me the opportunity to be able to get things that I would not under any other circumstance necessarily be able to afford. Or it has also introduced me, I guess I should say and, not or, but and it has also introduced me into things that I did not even know existed. Like, I have an eye for interesting things. I love a trinket. I love an interesting item, right? When you're thrifting, you come across a lot of things that make you pause and say, like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like my Victorian era pickle caster. I almost put that back, but it was so interesting to me that I just could not put it back. I could not put it back. And I'm so happy that I followed that instinct that pulled me to it, because it made me do research and I looked into it and I discovered exactly what it was used for. And it was something that I'm so glad that I have, because it's going to maybe not necessarily be used in my house for its intended purposes, but I know how I can use it to make it work for me. And it brings a sense of wealth to my life, you know? Another thing that makes me feel wealthy is time with my family. So of course, my cousins are out here from California, and you know, I wanted to let them do the whole like Houston thing and see what they wanted to see. But I finally reached out and I'm like, I want to see you guys again before you go. What do you want to do? And of course they said, oh, we want a day of thrifting. I was like, say less, I got you. So we went thrifting. One of my goals, and I feel like it's everybody's goal at this point, is to wear more of what I have, especially things that I've thrifted and I haven't gotten around to wearing yet. So this outfit has some things that I really have not had a chance to like wear a lot. Let me show you. So first things first, let's start up here. This is the top I had on earlier. I did thrift this. It is a Harley Davidson tee, but it has 3 different t-shirts put together to make one. So this was like a custom piece that I found in a thrift store when I lived in California still. This jacket I linked it when I first got it for you guys. It sold out so fast, but this I love because it gives Bottega. It's the only, I think, faux leather jacket I own. I don't own any other faux leather jackets. This is the only one. Then I have this skirt. It's like a white linen skirt that I also thrifted. It's Maxi. I have my t-shirt kind of like tucked up the side to give it a little bit of shape. And then I have on my Tory Burch sneakers that I recently thrifted. And then for bag, gonna do the new bag that we recently got. And I love this outfit. It's very cute, very chill, but also it's giving spring is coming, you know? Let me show you in the mirror. Yeah, it's definitely giving spring is coming. So you can see the shoes up close. Top, bag, jacket. And that is pretty much the fit. So what I am about to do is go ahead to pick up my cousins and then take them to the first thrift store. I think we're gonna visit 2 for sure, but there is one I want to visit that I've never been before that I keep hearing about, so I'm gonna try to make it down there, which is why I dress comfortable, because that particular, like the last thrift store I want to go to is a little bit further than the first 2. So this is the outfit. We might go get lunch or something like that in between, so I'm gonna take you guys along. Like I said, I'll definitely show you guys what I got. Let's go. We're en route to pick up my youngest cousin. My older cousin, her mom has to run a couple errands, and then she may meet up with us where we're at, but her daughter is what you would consider like a true Gen Zer, so I think it'll be fun to see the kind of things she thrifts versus the kind of things that I thrift. I'll try to see if I could get her to give you guys a little bit of a thrift haul, but I'm just a couple minutes away from picking her up, and then we're gonna head to the first thrift store. Okay guys, so we have Chi-Chi in the car. She's 18 years old, so she's like a real millennial. She's gonna tell us, I need to know her thrift strategy. So I was asking her if she makes a list for what she's gonna thrift, because you know me, like sometimes I'll be having a list in my mind, like okay, I'm looking for this. She said she likes to thrift on vibes, so which I get, because you know we do that too, but I want to know what is her thrift strategy. Hold on, I'm gonna give her the mic.
I don't really have one. I just go in and just look through like the racks and then see what's cute and then just put it in my cart.
Well, what's your style inspo? What makes you decide, okay, like this is cute, I want it, and I'm gonna buy it?
My style inspo?
Yeah.
Pinterest. I go on Pinterest a lot.
You do?
Yes, a lot of my outfits are from Pinterest.
So she lives like in like Sacramento Bay area. That influences your style, I would say. I think.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
But I want to know. So like when you go into a thrift store, what is the first section you go to? Like me, it's jackets, because I'm always looking for like a good leather jacket or
shoes.
Shoes.
I go to shoes first.
And then what do you go to after shoes?
Probably shirts. Shoes and shirts. Those are like my first two. I think the last things I look at are jewelry, because they're like right by the register, so it's like mine as well.
What about bags?
Oh, okay. Shoes and then bags, because bags are right by the shoes, so might as well shoes and then go through a straight line of bags.
Bags, then tops.
Yes, then tops, and then pants. But I rarely go to pants because I have too many.
Okay.
But I still go, and I still find like a bunch of stuff in pants, but I don't like get all of it.
Okay, we all have a thrift weakness. Mine is leather jackets.
Mm-hmm.
What's yours?
Oh my god, pajamas.
Really?
Yeah, I have to stop myself to not get pajamas like so much.
I'm so shocked by that. That was like the last thing I expected you to say. I thought you were gonna say like shoes or bags, because it's the first section you go to. Like the first section I go to is literally my thrift weakness. That's so interesting.
No, I love all my pajamas. Like my pajama pants are all from Goodwill.
That is so wild. I mean, obviously valid. I do get a lot of like silk pajamas and stuff like that. But yeah, like I'm so shocked. Okay, cool, period. So we have arrived at the first thrift store. This is a small one, but this is the one with like real thrift prices. And so we're gonna go in here and see what we can find, and we're gonna hope that I don't come out of here with no dishes. I don't need no dishes. Right off the bat, I found something super cute. It's called Dakota Tumi. Hold on. Look at this overnight bag. I think this is so cute. It's only $10, so I'm gonna snag that. And then I also think this one's really cute, but don't even need this one, but worth getting. Okay, so I've been like face deep in looking at things, and I haven't been able to pull out the camera, but I'm gonna show you what I have so far. These are beautiful. So I have these to add to my tea set collection. I also think this is super cool. It's only $4 and you literally hold a wine bottle in it. I think it's the coolest thing for the bar. I do have the Dakota Tumi bag, and then I have a ton of jewelry up front. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here and then go to the next store. So we're done in there. How was your experience?
It was great.
Show them the picture. So she found something that's been on her thrift Pinterest board for like weeks.
It was that.
Do you see that? There you go.
Like the button up part.
The button up. So you actually found the shorts.
And the jorts.
Yes.
I found both.
It's so accurate. Down to the short sleeve and everything.
It has a little zipper right here.
Cute. And then with the shorts are just like the jorts.
Yeah, they're Wranglers. Both of them are Wranglers. I'm surprised.
Oh, those are... She did real good. Those are like... You can recreate that whole entire outfit now.
Literally.
So cute.
And then I found some lighter ones.
So you can do a variation. Period. So this particular thrift store luckily has a dressing room.
Yeah.
Are you glad you were able to try it on? So now we're going to another one that has also, this one we're going to also has a dressing room.
Oh my god.
And it's big because, you know, thrift stores, they don't like having dressing rooms now.
Especially Goodwill, they took away their
That's so crazy too. And the fact that they won't even let you return for cash,
That's
only credit, is insane. So we're going to the next thrift. I unfortunately did exactly what I was not supposed to do, which is get dishes. But to be fair, the ones that I got, I looked them up. They are worth about $50 each. And I got 8 or 7. Yeah, and they were only $8. So they're like little tea sets. I showed you guys. I'm staying away from dishes now. No more dishes for Jillian. Unless they match the china set that I showed you guys last. Because remember, I'm trying to complete a regular china set. Okay, so off to the next thrift store. I'll see you guys there. Okay, I'm in the thrift store and there's some really cool belts that I want to show you guys. Oh, I wish these were my size. These are so cute. I had so much fun because I was able to just like have somebody there with me who, like my cousin, my oldest cousin, she doesn't necessarily do the whole thrifting thing. She said she doesn't have the patience for it, but she has a lot of patience to just go and be present because her daughter loves to thrift. And it was just so nice to have her there and to be able to like talk and chit chat and get her feedback on different things that I was getting. And she definitely co-signed on some of the purchases. I do have a thrift haul for you guys, so we're gonna get into that. But one thing I did notice though, and I think that this is actually amazing, her daughter is like a true Gen Zer. She's 18 years old. And my other younger cousin, her sister's daughter is like 21, I think, or 22. God, Lord, how old is she? She might even be 23. I know she's old enough to drink, okay? But anyway, they thrift together a lot as well. They do the bins. Takes a special person to do the bins. But one thing I noticed when I was asking her about her style, and you guys saw like the different things that she was looking for, is I noticed when it comes to Gen Z thrifting, they don't focus on the same things that I might necessarily focus on. Like obviously for me, I'm like high quality materials, cashmere, silk, you know, all the things. And it's not always necessarily something that has to be designer for me. I think when I was a little bit younger and when I was that age, in the media, there was so much about designer things that I feel like as a millennial, you were led to believe that designer things are what make wealth and quality. And then I think as you get older and you become able to get these things and you sit with these things and you live with these things, you start to understand that actually no, it doesn't. Like I could still be crying in my Chanel bag. Like the Chanel bag doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me any less depressed. It doesn't solve any problem that I have. Do you know what I mean? And you begin to start to look at these items as what they are, which is things. Now, you guys know I have an extensive designer. Well, for me, somebody definitely has way more than me, but you know, it's extensive to me. I have a lot of designer bags. I have a lot of designer shoes. I have a lot of designer clothes, but honestly, like I don't treat those clothes better than any other item in my closet because it's not about the name. It's about the quality or how I'm using it or how it makes me feel. And designer things do not make me feel more important. They do not make me feel more special. They do not make me feel better than anybody. So, you know, it's like when I get a really good quality piece that is a designer piece, typically I've been drawn to it because I think it's so cool and artistic and it makes me feel whimsical. It makes me feel like I've just added glitter to my picture, you know? Like I go for those kind of designer pieces that really make a statement, or something that is really made well, of a really high quality and material, and when it touches my skin it feels like butter and I just feel like, you know, again, whimsical. I feel good. I feel comfortable. Knowing that is why I'm able to properly prioritize what it is that I actually pick and go for in the thrift store, and like what really makes me like tick and what brings the sparkle and the sunshine. I digress to go back to say, I noticed that Gen Z, they don't care about those things, and I don't really hear a lot of them talking about designer. Like I was going over different things with her and like what's on my wish list and things that I want to create because of a particular designer, and she was like, oh, I've never heard of that designer before, because they don't care. And I love that for them. I really love that for them. I like that she goes on Pinterest and she finds an outfit that she's like, no, I like this. This is what is inspiring my thrift trip. And it's nothing crazy, but it's something that brings her joy and makes her happy. And to me, that's wealth. So while I was supposed to actually be filming like a more extensive thrift with me, y'all, I just got caught up in the wealth of the moment, which was spending time with my family. And so I didn't really film a thrift with me like I had intended, but that's okay because I had a really good day yesterday and I have some amazing items that I want to show you guys. I'm going to give you like the theory behind or the logic behind why I picked what I picked. But also we have another home update that I want to do with you guys and kind of explain how this item brings wealth into my life, you know? So let's go over the thrift haul because I again got mainly accessories. I got one clothing item, so I guess I'll start with that one first. I got these. I wish I knew. I need to look at the proper name for what these are called, but they are the pants that go under like those Indian tunics, and they typically have a drawstring in it. This one, the drawstring was missing, but it does have that part right there, and I'm not mad at it because I can easily take this as an opportunity to make something cool and creative and put whatever I want in here to draw the string or make it a drawstring. But what pulled me to this was the colors and the print and the material. I just think this is such a cool piece for summer, and I know that I'm gonna wear this and it's gonna bring so much whimsy to my life. And not only that, I feel like right now I might not be able to go to a place like India, right? I can't just book a ticket and go to India tomorrow and visit the textile factories and go shopping and do all the things. But there are other people who have already done that, and some of those items where they've done that have ended up in the thrift stores. And so I see them, I spot them, they call to me, I pick them up. And so having these items that I know came from different parts of the world brings a sense of wealth to my life because I get to experience a culture and have an experience with a textile, a material, a fabric, or like a vibe that I would not be able to have if it were not for thrifting, you know? So I love these so much. I definitely plan to style them up with scarf tops, tube tops, and things like that. However, two other accessories that I thrifted, which is so funny because I was talking to my cousin. We were there as her daughter was trying on clothes, and we were looking at my cart, and I'm like, my cart is so cohesive. Like, this is giving me all the vibes that I want for summer, and it just kind of let me know subconsciously like where my mind was at. But in my last thrift haul, you guys saw that I had all of those Indian scarves that I planned to wear almost like a hijab, and I love to style those things with the baseball cap underneath it. You guys saw that when I was doing all of like my fall winter styling, where I had the off the shoulder tops that I would like pull up over like a hood, and I would always wear like a baseball cap with it. And I realized I like the whole baseball cap and scarf over the head vibe, not necessarily the Hailey Bieber look per se, but a rendition of that I feel like just speaks to me and like what I like. And so I was like, I need some more bright, soft colored, pastel colored baseball caps to go with the vibrancy of those scarves. And so I found both of these. This one is Adidas, and this is actually a color that I almost got a Ralph Lauren baseball cap in. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is perfect, period. So I got this one, love an Adidas moment. And then I saw this one, which is one of my favorite colors of green, is this neon little green. I have so many things that are in this color family, and I realized I think I like it so much because I feel like it goes with my red hair. It very much gives like leprechaun. I think this is gonna be so cool with some of the scarves, but the funny thing about this is how perfectly the caps match the pants, and I would in fact wear these together, and I think it's just such a cool like little look. Now, going into other things that I got that also match, I saw these cowboy boots, and you guys know I love a cowboy boot. I have plenty of them, but these are vintage MIA, vintage Mia, and they're real leather. They looked so small. When I saw them, I was like, there's no way I can fit those, but I tried them on and I did. I also did the interior check to make sure there's no cracking of the leather, and I'm happy to report that this is actually lined in fabric, which is great. And so I love this because I have a leather jacket that has the same leather wash to it, because this is very 80s, and I know that come fall, at the end of this year, fall winter, I'll definitely be styling them together. But I also think these tucked with these are such a vibe with the baseball cap. Yeah, period. Look is giving. And then when we were in the accessories, I also spotted these. I know it's it's a very whimsical thrift haul, but look at this. These are knitted socks. As a matter of fact, are these inside out? No, they're not. So these are knitted socks, and they clearly fold over just like this. And I was like, this would look so cute with these cowboy boots, but I also have my chocolate brown harness boots that kind of give FRYE, but they're like a moto boot. And I'm like, this sock with those boots, this peeking out at the top is such a vibe. Love it. So I got these. And they're just socks. You could tell they had never been worn. I really want to finish out with all of like the accessories and clothing items. So we'll do that, and then I'll get to some of the homewares that I bought. But I love a belt. You guys know, every single time I go into a thrift store, I need to look at the belt section because I just feel like you can never have enough. And I've been looking for a thick leather belt that I could wear over dresses and just like low rise and with skirts and things like that didn't necessarily go in like belt loops. And more specifically, I wanted a black leather one, but when I came across this red leather one, look at that. I was like, period. I love this. I love this because it goes high up on my waist, but it also fits lower on my waist as well, which gives it versatility. And I could just see myself styling this with some of my midi skirts that are like very flowy if I'm gonna wear it a little bit lower on the waist. I could also see this going over a jacket, a blazer, like you name it. And it's just literally raw leather. I feel like it actually probably went with a different type of jacket potentially, and I just have the belt, but I love it and I just thought it was so cool. Another really cool item that I got was this Deadstock 100% leather belt from JCPenney. Look at that tag. Like, tell me that's not vintage, but look at this buckle. Like, are you kidding me? Hold on. You see that? Let me wait for the camera to lighten up. There we go. You see that? Tell me that is not giving Schiaparelli. This is totally giving Schiaparelli. And it's the perfect belt to do some layering. And then also, we were going over that Etro runway show, and I told you guys that I really love the whole braided belt vibe. And this is a braided belt. I also like the way it has the metal on the tip. But because it's a braided belt, I can put it high up on my waist. I could put it lower on my waist because the braid is the holes. And I just think this is the coolest belt. It is so heavy. Oh my goodness, it is so heavy. And it was such a phenomenal price. I can't remember what the price is because I took the price tags off, but this was such a good deal. And this one was another one. So this one, I actually got it purely for the belt buckle. And this is the belt buckle. Look at that. I think that's like abalone. And I could tell it's real, like real abalone, real stone. And the weight of this belt is just so heavy. Now, the belt itself, it says, does it say line dancer? What does it say? Square dancer. It says square dancer. It's a real leather belt. I mean, the print on it, the embossing is really cute, but this belt is a size 38 and that is too big for me. What I do love though is that I could, if I wanted to, add another hole, but this is one of those belt buckles which you can take them off. Like, it's one of those belts that you can unsnap like this. And one of my favorite belts that I got from Amazon, it's black, I wear it all the time, has a like a waist belt like this where I could snap it, and I just feel like this on that black belt would look so cool. This was pretty pricey. I want to say it was like $20. I literally got it for the belt buckle, which I think is so cool. So definitely will be styling this up many ways. And then I have this belt, which I can add other belt buckles to, add another hole. Definitely not a square dancer, but you know, we live. So now I want to get into jewelry. As you guys know, I have really been doing kind of like a jewelry refresh because I have a lot of dainty pieces and I love my dainty pieces still. Like I'm wearing some of my dainty pieces today, but I also love to add some chunk and some depth and some body. And so when I am building upon my current jewelry collection, I am being very intentional and mindful of how I want to wear these pieces. And I really want to be able to layer them and stack them and wear them together. So I'm literally building stacks that are interchangeable piece by piece. So I showed you guys that I had thrifted these 3 bangles, which I think are gorgeous. And when I went back to the thrift store, I actually came across this piece right here. And having these together, like you can like literally see, no matter how I change them up, whether I wear these 2 together, these 2 together right here, or these, like there's so many different ways I can wear these because they go together. So when I saw this, and it's actually very heavy, it's a very good quality bangle. When I saw this, I immediately thought of these bangles and I was like, yes, we have just built a stack that's interchangeable. So I have that. And then if you guys remember, I also got this bangle that's very irregular shape, but it looks like marble. I got this bangle separately from this necklace that I got, but this necklace, the beads have a marble look to them. So when I got the necklace, I was like, okay, these 2, they actually go together. But my bag of jewelry right here, when I was, again, thrifting and trying to build my stack, I was like, okay, hold on. We have this necklace right here. Look at this, how beautiful it is. And you see the beads on it that look marble? And so when I got this necklace, I immediately thought to myself, this is such a beautiful layering moment. And it's really hard to find high quality, good necklaces like this right now that are not like priced so high. And so that's really been my focus, is trying to build up my jewelry collection with really good, high quality, chunky pieces. Will I always want to wear a chunky neck stack or bracelets or whatever? Maybe. Maybe not, but either way, I know that I'll always love it, and I just may go in and out of the phase. So I'd rather start now collecting the pieces I love before everything becomes astronomical. So I saw these together and I'm like, this is again another really cool stack for the summer. And I do also have some other pieces that could potentially mix and match with this. I also saw this piece right here. Look at this. Like, imagine with a tube top or a tank top. I just think this is so pretty. And again, I saw this and I was like, oh, period. That's a stack right there. Now I am still trying to work on earrings because I want earrings that match these things that are like hoop-like, but I would love to get some acrylic hoops or some wooden hoops or things like that because I am just a hoop girl. I love a big hoop. Always have, always will. You guys have seen me in so many hoops and it'll never change. I did come across this necklace right here also that was very pretty. It's gold and it adds some chunk to my already dainty pieces. These pieces are real gold and I like to mix it. So I think that this is really cute, and I feel like if I wanted to, I could also mix this because this is a stack. Another stack that I wanted to focus on building is in my last haul, I showed you guys this horseshoe necklace right here. Look at how pretty that is. This will definitely go with silver hoops. But then when I went back to that same thrift store, I noticed they had just put out this necklace right here. And look, it's literally the same. It's the same stones, if you guys can see. And so I was like, oh, period. This right here, this is a colorful, fun summer stack. I'm really loving it. So that was my intention for getting that. Now, adding to this right here, right? We have this stack right here. I came across this beautiful necklace right here, which is two-tone. And look at how wonderfully these go together. If I want to create a neck stack with this necklace, I can, and it matches. And then I actually happened to find a matching necklace and bracelet that again has color. I just feel like this is perfect for spring. Like these are total spring colors, and I love the idea of using this to layer and stack with other pieces. Again, building the stack. You guys know in my last haul, I showed you a bunch of brooches and how I've been collecting brooches. And I was able to collect, these are all antique. Yep, these are all antique. This one right here, $4. Look at how that just looks. So pretty. Also, this one right here, it's a very pretty gold rose. You can kind of see. So pretty. And then these are super antique. Right here, these are very tiny. This one right here. And these right here, both of these. These are all antique brooches, and these are really tiny. I hardly ever see the tiny ones like this, but I just feel like these are really cool for if I like did scarf tops in the summer and I wanted to add some cute little pins, hold them together if I pin them or tie them a certain way. These kind of things are perfect for that. This is what, to me, wealth feels like. Just the ability to express and create using items that I probably would not be able to get otherwise, you know? So I want to get into a couple of the home things. I love interesting things in my house. And one of the things that I've always said, and me and my husband have talked about this, because my husband is a little bit more modern. He's not so into vintage as I am. However, he lets me live, okay? And so we always talk about the fact that I love for people to come to my house and have a feast for the eyes. I like them to look around and just see interesting thing after interesting thing. And I want somebody when they come to my house to look at something and think to themselves, oh my God, that's so interesting. What is that? I've never seen anything like that before. And that's kind of how I purchase and make my purchasing decisions for the house. And so when I saw this right here, look at this little plane, right? I was like, this is the cutest thing. I was already going to get it, right? Then I realized, wait a minute, hold the phone. This is actually a wine bottle holder. It has a picture of a cardboard wine just to kind of like drive the point home that you put a bottle of wine in here. And the way that you get it in, because I know you're probably thinking like, how do you get it in? There is a latch right here that opens and you put the bottle of wine in it. And the fact that I have this really cool vintage bar and I do have guests and I do entertain, I would love to put this on my bar with a wine bottle in it and just have it over there. Like, who just has something like this in their bar, like in their house holding wine? I just think it's the coolest thing. I could tell it's very old. It definitely probably came from, I would say this looks like something that would have been sold at my mom's old job. She used to work at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. And I used to see stuff like this in the art store all the time. So I feel like this would have come from like maybe 80s. I don't know. And then the little face of the pilot gives really like Mr. Potato Head in a way, but it's just so cool. I love this so much. So again, this right here brings wealth to my life. It really does, because it's so interesting and fun to look at. Last but not least on the I feel wealthy, I feel blessed train is my tea set. So I'm gonna show you a few actually. This right here is what I have my morning coffee in, and normally I love a bigger mug. I love a strong coffee. I drink espresso I have a cappuccino every morning, okay, and it's strong. I always have coffee left over in my cup because I love a strong coffee, but I don't drink a lot of coffee and I only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. I finished my coffee putting it in here because this is really how much coffee I actually drink. So I made myself a cappuccino in this morning, and this is actually, the brand is, I'll show you right here. You can pause to read. When I did some research, I found out that this is the cashmere of China. This is bone china. When you hold it up to the light, you could actually see through it. That's one of the things my cousin told me to do when I got home, because she collects china as well. And this is the highest of the highest quality of china. It's actually amazing. And I got each set for $8. Easily, it's worth about, I want to say the research said $80 to $200 depending, and this one is gold. It was just doing that based on the brand. This is a more ornate version, so I would not doubt that this was $100 to $200 per set. like per cup and saucer. 4 for those, so I got all 4 sets, and each one came with its own like little saucer. What was interesting though is there were 2 that had the flat saucer like this. This is like the one I just showed you guys, but then there were 2 that had more of like a bowl like saucer, even though the cups were the same. And so I literally got all of them, and I'm like, you know what, I was gonna put them in my bar when I do my bar refresh, and I still may, because this, with also the silver set that I showed you guys in the last haul, I think the silver and gold could be really cute. So I might do that. And then I also saw another set, which was this one. And this has more of a round cup. And I thought they were gonna be the same brand. They were not. This is actually the brand. I'll show you right here. And when I did some research on this, they told me that this one is actually even more valuable than that one. So this is even like top of the line, and these also came with these saucers. And what's interesting is even though St. Patrick's Day just passed, these all have like a little 4-leaf clover on it. I think it's so cute. And so I immediately got home, I washed these. They had some more as well that were this brand, but they looked a little bit different, and the way the associates had taped them, when you remove the tape, it was removing the gold leaf that was on the cup, so I didn't get those because they were damaged. But I am definitely going to be drinking my morning coffee from this very expensive china. And again, as far as bringing wealth to my life and what I view as wealth, I would never be able, or I have not been up to this point, I'm not going to say never because we do not speak that over ourselves, but up to this point, I have not been able to make it to Paris. I have not been to Europe. So there would not be a circumstance up to this point where I would be able to go walk into the store that sells these and drop $200 on a saucer and a little plate. Definitely not 4 of them, because what's that? Like $800, almost $1,000 on 4 teacups and a saucer to go with them? I would never. I just would never. But I'm able to have that experience because I thrift. I love that for me. I really do love that for me. And I want that for you too. So if you've been watching me for any length of time, you know I am really big on sharing my tips and tricks when it comes to thrifting and like why I thrift certain things, or showing you what I thrift and how I style it. And when I was thinking about that, I realized I do it because I want you guys to be able to live a life that you feel is a wealthy life without having to spend so much money, and understanding that wealth for everybody means something different, and you have to figure out what feels like wealth to you and like dive headfirst into that and really try to make that come alive for yourself in your own life. The next thing that we're gonna be doing that is definitely something that feels wealthy to me is bedding. And my bedding has all finally arrived, and I wanna show you my new bedding, and we're gonna remake my bed because I have already stripped my bed. We're gonna put the new linens and everything on it, and I'm gonna tell you exactly where I got my linens from, and I'm going to link them for you. So let's go do that right now. For my bedding, I really need to have natural materials. I find that I get the best sleep. I don't sweat as much in my sleep, and it just really does something for the quality of sleep that I have when I have natural materials. So I love to have 100% cotton sheets. Really, I want linen, but linen is so expensive, and I think we found a happy medium. And so after going through so many different brands, I have these FRYE sheets. These are the brand FRYE, and this is 100% cotton, but it is a linen weave. So it has the look of linen, but it is 100% cotton, which is still great because I love a natural fiber. So we're gonna put the cotton sheets on the bed. I've washed everything. Then when it comes to my summer sleep situation, well, fall, winter as well, I always have a quilt as one of the layers on my bed, because in the fall and winter season, it adds a layer that makes me warm, and in the spring summer season, I pull back my heavier bedding, and I only use the quilt because, again, it's lightweight. It helps me to not sweat so much in my sleep, and I find that, like when I first did this, where I had a quilt, the quality of sleep that I got that night was unmatched. It was unmatched, and I decided at that point I will never go back. I will always have a quilt on my bed. And I realized the older generation really, they knew what they were doing, and there was something to that. I cannot believe how hard it was for me to find a quilt that was 100% cotton. The one I had on my bed was white before, and it was like this material in like pattern. It was textured, and that was my first quilt that I had on my bed. However, it's white. My hair is red. My husband dyes his beard, and so you can imagine the mess of getting red dye on the white and his black beard dye on the white, and it just became kind of like a headache. And so I decided that I wanted to swap it out for something darker. And so even though it's spring and summer, I went with a dark color, and I found this amazing chocolate brown quilt, and I got this quilt from Quince. Not sponsored. Not sponsored at all. I paid my own cents, my own monies for this, but I got a king size quilt in this chocolate brown. And the thing that I love about this, which I feel like is how I was able to find the happy medium, is this is 55% cotton, 35% linen, I believe is the ratios. So it's like linen and cotton, the best of both worlds. And I was looking for 100% cotton. This like far surpassed and out delivered because it has the linen aspect in it. And linen is actually very healing to your skin. So wearing linen, sleeping on linen, it's like medicine. If you guys do your research on that, you'll see it's also why wearing linen in the spring and the summer season is the thing that a lot of people do. It's what is it like? Is tradition the right word? A lot of these things that we have always seen people do historically through time, there is actually science behind why they do that. I'm learning based on research when it comes to vintage and all the things. But a long-winded way of saying, I got this from Quince. I think it's absolutely amazing. The quality is unmatched, next level, and this is going to be amazing. So we're actually about to make the bed and kind of see how everything looks. And then just for you guys to know, I actually have a duvet on my bed. This is the duvet that I have. It's this olive green and kind of like a darker, it's like a light green and an olive green. So it's like mint and olive, which kind of gives off chocolate depending on how you look at it. But this is also linen and cotton. So I really try to go all natural for all of my bedding. So let's make the bed and kind of see how this new setup looks. Oh my gosh, these must really be meant for like a deep dish mattress, because these are going on so much easier than my other sheets. I know that probably looked like I put 1,000 things on the bed, but you know when you go into home stores like Pottery Barn and Our House and like Crate and Barrel, and you see those really thick fluffy beds, it's because they literally have like 4 blankets on it. That's what makes it so fluffy. So just to kind of explain my bed, I look so small next to my bed. I have, obviously you saw the base layer, the sheets, the quilts and everything, but then I have this duvet and I have this foot blanket, which is something that sometimes it'll stay at the foot of our bed, but if it gets too hot in the summer, then I take it off while we're sleeping and I kind of put it on this little table down here. The only reason I don't take it off completely is because we do lack storage for linens in this house, so I am trying to find a unit for that. That's kind of why I want what I want in the living room, and I do make my bed like this every day. I do. I think the chocolate brown is everything I ever wanted. I love it so much, and it was exactly what I wanted when I first was picking out bedding for the bed. I just was trying to justify to myself, like, okay, do you really want to like buy it, right? And then when I started doing research and realizing how expensive quilts can get, and then I saw the prices that Quince was offering for that same luxury, I was like, period, I'm gonna just go ahead and get it from Quince. I know the quality of Quince. I am familiar with the quality of Quince, so I just knew it would not disappoint. Like I said, not sponsored. I have worked with them before, but this I bought completely with my own money. So I love the way that it came out, and it is definitely something that is a luxury for me. It feels like wealth to be able to sleep in a bed that is so comfortable, natural materials and fibers. Just, you know, these are the things that make me feel, like I said, wealthy. You know, you can also thrift quilts. I have the quilt in my living room that you guys have seen before, especially if you watch the Christmas Decor series. You can go watch that if you haven't seen it, but that's 100% cotton quilt also, that actually costs twice as much retail wise as my Quince one, and I think that they are definitely very comparable. So if you're looking for 100% cotton quilt or cotton and linen bedding, just natural materials and fibers that are sustainable, healthy for your skin, they do not use any toxic chemical dyes or things like that, definitely check out Quince. I'll link them down below. So we're done with the bed. These are some of the house updates for now, but we definitely will be getting into more of the painting and all of that stuff later, and then I'll have to give you guys a garden update because it is flourishing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this changes your mind on what you should consider as wealth. It's not always money, but really just the quality of life that you create at home. That is the most important thing. And I think that with how expensive things are becoming, it's important to be mindful and intentional about where you spend your money. It doesn't mean you have to thrift everything. Like I said, I did the Quince bedding, and I think it's a phenomenal deal for what you get. It's just about deciding the brands that are worth your money, that's going to add wealth and luxury to your life without the wealth and luxury price. So if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments. Let me know what your favorite piece is that I thrifted, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.